Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today is my special collaboration video with Mo from Girls Guide to Goodreads. And Mo has her own blog, and she started it in September 2020. After reading a book that she loved, unfortunately took a dive for the worst about 7/8 through, and she didn't want that to happen to other kids, so she started her own blog. And yeah, so today we're going to be doing a combination of two Easter book tags. I've linked to the two of them down in the description below, but Mo has also added one of her own questions, so you can think about which one you might have added and let me know in the comments. So let's get started with the first question. So the first question is rabbits, a book you wished could multiply or have a sequel. So I'll let Mo give her answer first.
So, hi, I'm Mo, by the way. So this one was hard to come up with, but I decided on Earth to Dad by Krista Van Dosler. It was a really good book. It was really sweet, and I was like, and it ended on this kind of like cliffhanger, and I was like, oh, I want to read the other one and know what happens. But
my answer is going to be Catching the Wind by Melanie Dobson. Now, as far as I know, this book is a standalone, and I don't want to read this way because here is my pet peeve. I hate it when like authors don't give me like a good glimpse into the future, at least in the epilogue of characters. And just the two main characters in this book had a really good story going, and I wanted to see more of what happened to them. We get like one little epilogue where it just mentions that like they're engaged, but I mean like that's it. So I wanted to see more, and plus I feel like there were a few more plot points that definitely could have been developed into a sequel. So yeah, I really wanted there to be a sequel. But yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. So the next question is egg, a book that feels like a hidden gem. And Mo, you can give your answer first again.
So I really liked this book called Far North by Will Hobbs, and it was like really good adventure. I love survival stories and adventure stories, and it was really good. And it was just like kind of hiding on my bookshelf, like, oh, just very nondescript. And I read it. I was like, this is so good. What do you think?
So for my answer, I'm gonna have The Dragon's Tooth by N.D. Wilson. Now I feel like it's such an underrated book because like after I read it, I was like, this is amazing. So I had to read the entire trilogy. But then there's like no fandom, like no nothing for it. I'm like, there's something. Like, come on, there's some kind of like website thing. Yeah, I feel like this is so like underrated, but seriously, like the plot and the world building is just incredible, and I really feel like it should deserve some more attention. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, moving on to the next question. So the next question is Easter Basket, a book filled with surprises. So Mo, want to give your answer?
I thought the Keepers of the Lost Cities books, like when you read them, you're just like, oh, okay, great, and then they just get so like in depth and plot twists, and then it's just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah, totally agree. I love KOTLC so much, and yeah, there are so many things that keep happening. I mean, like so many characters keep resurrecting. Okay, it's like nobody is dead. But, yeah.
Right?
Okay. Anyways, so for me, this book would actually be Final Wishes by Paul Chamberlain. Now, this book I actually just picked up off the shelf when I had like nothing to read and I really needed to read something. So I thought it was like this boring non-fictional book, of course, that like I read somewhere. But okay, so that was how desperate I was. Okay, I really need something. So it wasn't a boring non-fictional book. It is actually. So I was pleasantly surprised. It contained a lot of like legal language, which I didn't really understand the first time I read it. But the second time I read it, I understood it more. So yeah, that was interesting. Okay.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
The next question is Hunt, a book that was hard for you to get your hands on. And again, Mo, do you mind giving your answer?
Well, so I'm actually still trying to get this book. I haven't found it yet. It's called Riptide by Cat Falls. The first book was really good. I actually reviewed it on my blog. It's called Dark Life. And I was like, oh, there's no second book, whatever, because it didn't really have like a cliffhanger at the end. And then I was researching it for my review, and I was like, wait, there's a second book, and I have not been able to find it like anywhere, and I've been searching for like months and months. So still on that
hunt. Right. So for my answer, it's gonna be Empire's End by Jeremy Jenkins, and I don't have it either. So the thing is that, I live in Canada, and we were looking to get it like shipped to us, obviously, because none of the bookstores near us actually carry it. So we were looking like to order it online, but the thing is they only ship it from the US. So with COVID, like without COVID, we would normally like travel to visit like my dad's best friend in Kentucky and just like order it and have it shipped to his house. But with COVID, we can't do that. So we're looking to order it on like Amazon.ca, right? But the thing is, it ships from this other third-party seller. And this third-party seller charges like an obscene amount of taxes and duties for us to get it.
Oh, no.
And like the taxes and duties combined are like more than the actual book. So my dad was like, okay,
oh my,
getting from that person, we need to find it somewhere else. So we've still been looking for that. And it's awful because it's also a sequel to another book. But that book ended on like a huge cliffhanger, and I've been dying to know what happens for so long. So yeah, hopefully we can find it sometime soon.
Okay. Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, next question is Lambs, a children's story you still enjoy. So again, Mo, your answer?
I love The Boxcar Children by Gertrude Chandler Warren. I mean, they were just so cute, and I loved them, and they had like the great boxcar house thing, and I just loved them so much. And then the Hardy Boys and the Nancy Drew books, like technically they aren't like kids stories, I'd say, but I read them when I was like 10, and oh my goodness, I just hold a special place in my heart for them because it was just like mystery books, and so yeah.
For my answer, I have The Witches by Roald Dahl, and so yes, this is a kid's story, but the first time I read it, I was like 8, and it really creeped me out because, well, the witches. I reread it when I was like 11 maybe, and I was like, this is actually kind of funny once we got past the creepy part.
Right.
It's got a funny storyline, although definitely the witches are more on the creepy side. So yeah, I still enjoy it. Okay, it's funny once you get past the creepy part. So yeah.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. So let's go to the next question, and that question is Spring, a book with a cover that reminds you of spring. And so Mo, flash your
mine was The Secret Garden. I mean, obviously there's like garden, and it had all the books, like the storyline is also very springy, and I love spring, and so I really like The Secret Garden. And then On the Banks of Plum Creek by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I mean, it's kind of just like a springy time, running out through the hills, like flowers blooming green. So yeah, I really like those two.
So, okay, for my answer, I've got The Noble Servant by Melanie Dickerson. I think it's a bright, sunshiny cover here. Okay, on some terms, I guess you could say it would be more of a summer kind than spring, but I don't know. To me, it's spring. So
yeah, it's
like she's still wearing like this long dress and these long sleeves. I feel like you wouldn't wear that if it was like really hot outside.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Like crazy. So seems more of a springy look to me. Okay,
cool.
So the next question is Rising from the Dead, a book from a deceased author.
My book would be The Cadaboo Boss Days, or be Bostu, I don't know how to say it, but something like that, by G.A. Henty. It was like it was written in the 1800s, so he's obviously long gone, but it was a really good book. I had to read it for school, and I was like, oh, I don't want to read this, and then I started like getting into it, and I was like, oh, this is such a good book.
Yeah, I've had that before. Oh my goodness.
And it like has like Moses in it because it's back in Egyptian time, and the story of like cats very important to the Egyptian religion, and like Moses hat was in there, and it was really good. I really liked it.
So for me, it's gonna be a classic. It's gotta be Narnia by C.S. Lewis.
Oh yes.
A giant volume with like all the books in it. Yeah, obviously C.S. Lewis is dead. Doesn't stop me from enjoying his books. So yeah.
Yeah.
Next question. So baskets, a book in your wish list right now.
Okay, I have Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradburn, and I know that's kind of like a controversial book sometimes, and so I'm like, I don't know, but I definitely am interested in reading it. It sounds very interesting. And then Pembroke's Scent Creaturepedia by Andrew Peterson, and Wing Feather Tales, and that's by a lot of different people. So, but those three are like, I really want those right now. So.
Yeah, Wing Feather Tales is really good. I had that one, and it was pretty good.
Oh, cool.
So, my answer is going to be Outrun the Moon by Stacey Lee. And obviously, I don't have it right now to show you because. But yeah, so actually, this just came from a recommendation from one of my friends who was like, oh, this author is so good. You have to read her books. And then I was like, okay, so I wasn't really sure which book she I listened to the author's books and like looked through them, and then Outrun the Moon seemed the most interesting to me. So I added it to my wish list, obviously.
Oh, cool.
Which is probably way too long, but you know, it'll be there and somehow, some way I'll read it eventually. Okay. So the next question is Bloom, a book that you loved. And Mo.
Okay. I loved Hatchet, but you can't Hatchet by Gary Paulson, but you can't just like have Hatchet by itself. You need to have Hatchet along with Brian's Winter. That one was really interesting, like the two together, I guess. They were really good. And of course, I love like almost all the books I've ever read, but you know, specifically I love those two, and then Tiger Queen by Annie Sullivan, and then the whole Wing Feather series by Andrew Peterson. Those were just so great. I mean, oh, they were so good. So,
yeah, cool. I got Tiger Queen for my birthday, and I haven't read it yet. It's sitting on my book up there. Wow.
Oh, cool.
And I haven't so I need to get it after I finish Percy Jackson. So yeah. For my answer, it's got to be Never Seen by Shannon Messenger. This is my favorite.
Oh yes,
the Lost City series, and I already loved the entire series so much. And it took me like actually a long while to pick out my favorite out of the entire series. But it's something got to be Never Seen. And actually, I don't have it with me right now because I lent it to a friend because she wanted to read it. So yeah, I don't have it. But yeah, that book was just amazing. I could rant about it for so long, but I will keep this short.
Oh yes,
to be like 1 hour. So, yeah, but I feel like out of all the Keep Lost Cities books combined, I feel like it had best like plot. I mean, like all the books, I guess they all have really good like plot twists and turns and stuff. But I feel like Never Seen just had like the most game changers that really like turn the entire KLTLC like plot into something that like it wouldn't be without Never Seen. And also it doesn't help that my favorite characters are also introduced in that book, Tammy. So yeah.
Oh yes, I love Lynn. She's great. So.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, cool.
Anyways, let's move on. Chocolate Bunny, a book so good you didn't want it to end.
Okay, well, I actually couldn't pick one here. I just had to say like almost every single book, but at the same time, it's kind of like sometimes you want it to end just because you want to know what happens, and then you just want to be like able to imagine like, oh, what's like their life afterward the book ends, but still you don't want it to end at the same time. So I couldn't come up with a distinct answer, so I just said almost every book I've ever read.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I could get so much more out of this story, but I mean, like, I just want to know what happens. Get you. But yeah, so yeah, it was really hard for me to figure out. But if I had to pick like one, I think it would be. I think it would be Romanov by Nadine, and this was really good. I think seeing how she wove like this whole other fantasy world into like what is it? some olden day Russia. So yeah, that was really interesting. And just like the plot twist you put, I mean, it's like it's historical fiction. Okay, so originally the character like died in history, but she took it and put a completely different spin on it, where she didn't like actually die.
Oh,
but yeah, don't want to say too much or spoilers. People who might want to read this, so yeah, I'll just keep it at that. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. So, Candy, a book that is sweet.
Okay, I picked this book. It was called Hope Was Here by Joanne Bayer or Bayer. I'm not really sure how you say it, but it was so sweet, and it was just like at the end, what happens just makes you just like, oh, it's so sweet, and it was such a good book. Like, definitely recommend it.
Yeah. So. There were some books that just make you want to like squeal after you finish reading.
Exactly. Yes.
So for my answer, it's got to be The Captive Maiden by Melanie Dickerson. Now, obviously, when you think sweet, I obviously think of a romance. So this is definitely a romance through and through. But you can watch my review of that. I'll link it down below. Of course, it's definitely like super clean though. Nothing inappropriate happens. The author is Christian. And yeah, but anyways, this book was just like one of the books that makes you want to like squeal after you finish reading it. But yeah. Even though there were like some action scenes, which I mean, like I know a book needs that to like get the plot moving, because there was like nothing but romance, that would be really too sweet, like overly like sugar. So yeah,
right.
Yeah, so I feel like yes, the action scenes really helped balance it out. It's really one of those like classic romances, because this is like a Cinderella retelling, but it's definitely got the whole like knight in shining armor, damsel in distress kind of thing. So
yeah,
kind of like classic that way, but not too cliche either. So
yeah.
Okay.
Very nice.
So moving on, cheap, a book you got for super cheap.
Ooh, well, okay. I got our little town had a library, and they decided to close, which was very sad, but I mean, I guess it is what it is. But they had all the books on sale for super cheap. So I had I think I got probably 10 books for like $3 or something like that. So I got the books Crossed and Reached by Allison Brathwaite. I think that's how you say it. And they were like 25 cents each. So they were really cheap.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah.
So
for me, unfortunately, my library is not closing down anytime soon. And so I have never had a book sale before. So that being said, and so this may surprise you, but I'm not actually like a buying books kind of person. I'll only like buy books if there's like a book that I got and I really want to like read the sequel, the rest of the series, or like by one of my favorite authors. So I am actually not really a buying books person. Literally all my books from, like my family and friends who like get them for like my birthday or Christmas. So they were like a lot of books that I've gotten for my birthday or Christmas. But for example, just so I can give something to say, I got the Hunger Games series up there. You can see it for my birthday. And I also got the Percy Jackson series, which I'm almost done right now. And I also got Tiger Queen by Annie Sullivan. So yeah, I have still that to read. So okay, moving on. So this is the last question. So here we go. Cross, a book that you'd recommend to someone interested in becoming a Christian, aside from the Bible, because that's kind of like
oh yeah. So I actually have like two. So I would say if you're like older, teenager, 20 years old or whatever, read it's called Muscle and a Shovel, and it's by Michael Shank, and it was a really good story about a guy's salvation. It was super cool. I loved it. It took me a little while to get through. I started it and then paused and didn't come back for 6 months, but the ending is it's really good, and it has a lot of good wisdom and stuff in it. And then for kids, younger people, probably about 10 to even like 15, whatever, could read. It's Am I Ready to Be Baptized and I'm a Christian, What's Next by Kyle Butte. Those were really good. I really enjoyed those, and they have like good insight and wisdom for kids, but explained in a simple way, so you're not like, what? So yeah, those are my recommendations. So
yeah, that's great. So I kind of have like the same pattern of you. I have one for like younger kids and one for like older audiences. So younger audience, I will put The Rome, the 12, and the King by Jenny L. Cote. Now, yes, this is a very thick book. So for that reason, I wouldn't really recommend it to anyone like under 10, just because like the attention span to sit through the entire book. But I have siblings that are like 10 and they read it easily. So, but yeah, I recommend this because it actually gives a really good but realistic portrayal of the life of Jesus, but through these like eyes. So kids, I think like kids will be intrigued by like the animals' perspective, because they get to like travel with Jesus and see all the miracles that he does on his time on earth. Again, like I said in my review of this book, there is the scene of his crucifixion and stuff, which does have some detail about like the torture he had to go through. So again, I recommend like parental caution and stuff. But the author gives like a warning in the book and says like he tried to keep it as like PG as possible, but she knows that yes, in reality it was much more bloody and etc. But she chose to like just kind of gloss it over a little for the sake. So, but yeah, this even for like my age, it's like really emotional and powerful. So yeah,
cool.
For older audiences, I would recommend Downstairs. I'm gonna get it by Jerry B. Jenkins, and this book actually is it's kind of historical fiction, but it's not really. So we get this guy. His name is Augustine Knox. And he has to go to Italy because Paul's memoir has been found, like the Apostle Paul. So apparently Paul's memoir was about like his early life and his conversion on the road to Damascus and etc. And also from the readings of his memoir, we also get some chapters from his perspective as well. So it's really interesting to see like what was going through Paul's mind before he got converted and after as well. They also woven some really good like modern day plot twists into the chapter from Augustine's point of view. So yeah, it was really cool that way. And I think it'll just like be intriguing enough for like teenagers and even adults to read as well. So that's my older audience. Yeah.
Nice.
So that is the end of all these questions. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing all our perspectives on these different books. So definitely all these books, I'll like link them down below so you can go and check them out. And I'll also have like, all the questions and stuff that we did. So I hope you guys enjoyed this during this collab.
It totally was.
Yeah. So make sure to leave a like down below if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And check out Mo's blog, which I'll also link down below. And I think she posts like at least once a month, sometimes more. So make sure to go check that out. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.